Happy Thursday, TV family. We have safely returned here from Studio 7 in downtown Wenatchee, Washington. For Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, I am Dan Kuntz. 1 week from Thanksgiving. It's late this year, 27th. Of course, last year it was as late as Thanksgiving can be, the fourth Thursday in November, and it's late again this year. Programming reminder, we won't be here next Thursday. In fact, I think we're taking next Thursday and next Friday off, I think. I don't know. I guess we'll find out together. I definitely won't be here next Thursday, I can tell you that much. Overcast, it is 39 degrees. Yesterday's forecast didn't quite pan out. We had the sunshine. It was supposed to kind of clear out and give us a nice day. Instead of the opposite happened. We had clouds. It was a little warmer than normal. 44 degrees. Our normal high is 42. That's supposed to happen today. The one thing that's really going on is it's pretty quiet. We had some very light drizzle in the wee small hours this morning. It's kind of tapered off a little bit. Really not a lot of weather to talk about. Temperatures are still going to be above normal, but we're going to take a sneak peek at what we have in store for you next week. Not us, but Mother Nature. We'll have that in the forecast. We have a lot of news to get to. Busy day in the bullpen, but to offset the fact that we have a lot of news, we don't have a lot of sports. It's just the nature of the beast. But we'll do whatever sports we can cram in. We will do exactly that. And in the back half of the program, in the interview segment, it is the second part of my two-part interview with the chief of the Wenatchee Police Department, Chief Edgar Reinfeld. Yesterday, we concentrated on the fact that he's currently wearing two hats, not only as the chief of police, his primary job, but of course he's also the interim city administrator for the city of Wenatchee. And today's conversation is pretty much law enforcement related. You don't want to miss that conversation, but the chief will have that for you in the back half of the program. And at 2 minutes after the hour, let's see what we're looking like out there today. We're going to give East Wenatchee a little bit of love. That is, I think that's got to be our cross camera, simply because it looks so good. We have two cameras, and the main camera up at the very tip of Wenatchee Heights, which we use all the time, that's a 4K camera, and that tells me by looking at that, that's probably the 4K camera. Good swath of East Wenatchee chimes in. Hi, East Wenatchee. Hi, Highlander. Good to see all of you folks, and you can see all those server farms up there above Pangbourne Memorial Airport. Camera 2 takes us to Union Valley on the north shore of Lake Chelan. You can just make out Lake Chelan, or Chelan proper, on the left-hand side of your screen, and we're going to move it as we pan towards Manson and a good swath of the south shore. I think we might be able to make it all the way up to the state park at this rate. Union Valley has a beautiful view up there. Very handy camera when it gets to be wildfire season. So, and there's, oh yeah, there's Wapato Point. So good morning to Lake Chelan. It is, let me check, 36 degrees up at the lake. That's our monitor camera looking out over the upper valley. Cashmere off in the distance. You can make out Stein Hill, beyond that Dryden, beyond that Beshaston, beyond that Leavenworth, beyond that Seattle, beyond that the Pacific Ocean, beyond that Hawaii. It's a good camera. It's not that good, but a beautiful view there. Hello to our friends in the monitor area, and up to Billy Goat we go. Hello Pateris, hello Bridgeport, hello Brewster. Looks pretty good up there in Omak right now. That's the closest weather station that we have. That's within a point and a click of me. It is 36 degrees up in Omak. Beautiful view of Billy Goat. The highest camera of all the PTZ cameras. I think it's something like, I used to know the exact elevation, but it's over 7,000 feet in elevation. That's a ways up there. There was some snow in those abutments not long ago. That snow seems to have gone away. Speaking of snow, let's talk a little winter travel for next week. It's finally going to happen. It hasn't really happened much in the mountain passes, but the snow level is going to go down. Moderate snow in the mountains. Most of it's going to be either Monday or Wednesday. They don't think we're going to get any snow down here in the Wenatchee Valley. At one point on Monday, our best chance of snow, the snow level is going to go down to 2,700 feet on Monday, so I don't think we're going to have any real snow. They've had some Thanksgivings that have been pretty nasty to get around, and keep in mind that Thanksgiving is later this year, and of course the later we get into fall and closer to winter, the better chances we have of snow in the mountains. As far as your chance of greater than 2 inches of snow in any one 24-hour period, starting Friday afternoon tomorrow, taking you all the way through the Thanksgiving weekend. Excuse me. On Monday, Stevens Pass has about a 75% chance of getting at least 2 inches of snow, but maybe not that much. And on Monday, I-90, about a 65% chance of 2 inches or more of snow. And then on Wednesday, a big travel day, Stevens has about a 40% chance of getting at least a couple of inches of snow. I-90, also a 40% chance. As you can see, not really much snow at all expected on Blewett Pass. Wanted to let you know. Your 7-day forecast brought to you by Colonial Vista Senior Living in Wenatchee. It's where comfort, care, and community come together. Cloudy this morning, sunshine in the afternoon, so they tell us. Holding out on that one. High of about 48, once again above normal. 32 for the overnight low tonight. Our overnight low normal is 30, so just a little bit above normal. It will be clear tonight. Supposed to be sunny pretty much all day on Friday with a high of 45. Again, there's just really not a lot of weather to talk about. Saturday, we were expecting rain yesterday. Now they say probably not. Cloudy, mild, high of 49. We wrap up the weekend on Sunday with a chance of rain, especially Sunday night with a high of 49. All right, that's your forecast. We're going to take a break, come back with the news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCW Life, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
There's no place like home, because home is where we're totally comfortable. It's where we can be ourselves and let our guards down. It's where we make memories, and we're always imagining new ways to keep it totally comfortable. Carrier, total comfort, totally happy.
Call Alpine Air Heating and Cooling today. Your comfort is their priority.
Tour Moses Lake just a gas tank away. With its abundance of outdoor activities, Moses Lake is a great place to visit. From fishing and boating to exploring the city's attractions, there is no shortage of things to do. Whether you're enjoying any one of the variety of restaurants with the family or an adventure-filled day with friends, Moses Lake has something for everyone. Tour moseslake.com and start your adventure today.
Hi, I'm Amanda Walden with A. Walden Insurance Group. I've been helping people for nearly a decade understand their Medicare options. Medicare isn't a one-size-fits-all. I'll help you understand coverage options so you can feel confident in your Medicare decision. Let's find the right Medicare plan for you. Call me today or see me at my office in Wenatchee with easy parking and entrance.
It's cloudy. They're high clouds anyway, whatever that means. 39 degrees, some sun breaks today. Mid-40s, lots of sunshine Friday. We're going to cloud up and be very mild as this very warm November continues right into the weekend. Just about 9 minutes after the hour, the president of Wenatchee Valley College is going to keep his job for another 3 years. They're going to renew his contract. The Wenatchee Valley College Board of Trustees renewing Famous Harrison's contract. They did it last night, and they did it unanimously during a rather well-attended board meeting. About 40 people joined in person for the meeting, several of whom spoke against Harrison's renewal. Those critical of the move cited a campus survey that showed widespread dissatisfaction amongst staff, as well as the sanction that was placed on Wenatchee Valley College by the college's accrediting body, which found that Wenatchee Valley College had fallen short of several institutional standards for colleges and universities. We asked for the compensation and salary. Last night we didn't get it. We're still trying to figure out what exactly that is. The new contract begins January 1st and runs through December 31st, 2029. This is a strange story. A Wenatchee man was sentenced to federal prison after stealing his brother's identity to gain a passport for himself and legal status for a Brazilian national he married using his brother's name. Back in 2021, Brandon Wilkerson applied for a passport under his brother's name, traveled to Brazil where he got married, and then he applied for legal status for his spouse. In February of 2023, Wilkerson's brother told East Wenatchee Police he believed his brother had used his identity to gain employment in the area, and he probably used his identity to get a driver's license and a passport in his brother's name. Wilkerson was arrested on suspicion of first-degree theft and financial fraud, and in March of 2024, he was indicted on federal charges on 1 count of false statement on a passport, false swearing on an immigration matter, and 2 counts of aggravated identity theft. On September 24th, he was sentenced to 30 months incarceration. The operator of one of Wenatchee Valley's largest senior living facilities has agreed to a $7 million settlement with the state. Bonaventure Senior Living operates 15 care centers in our state, including one in East Wenatchee. A lawsuit led by Attorney General Nick Brown claimed that for 5 years, Bonaventure failed to provide a number of vital services to residents in East Wenatchee and 9 other communities, including medication assistance, housekeeping, maintenance, dining, and infection control. The company did not admit fault in the settlement. It was announced yesterday, but it did agree to spend $7 million over the next 4 years to raise wages or hire more staff, hire a quality assurance team, and hire a health and wellness director for each of Bonaventure's facilities that provides both assisted living and memory care services. And about 800 Bonaventure residents will also receive a $250 credit towards their fees. An East Wenatchee man arrested in September for making online threats after the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, sentenced last week to 3 months in jail. 41-year-old Casey Allen Garrison apologized in Chelan County Court for his hyperbolic comments in a Facebook thread, stating that he would make sure an Idaho woman's children died in a school shooting. The comments were made in relation to the fatal shooting of Kirk, who once said gun deaths were the price you pay for the Second Amendment. Sheriff's deputies arrested Garrison at a Wenatchee residence. He pled guilty to a charge of felony harassment before Judge Robert Jordan. Aside from serving jail time, Garrison was banned from contacting the victim in Idaho or her 2 minor children for the next 5 years. Well, it turns out wildfire smoke is the highest source of greenhouse gas emissions in Chelan County. That's the finding from a study of the county's greenhouse gas emissions inventory. The study was conducted by the consulting firm Parametrics. They were hired by the Chelan County Department of Natural Resources in partnership with Sustainable NCW and Our Valley, Our Future. In 2023, wildfires released 1.54 million metric tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere in Chelan County. Compare that to just 385,000 metric tons of CO2 from transportation emissions. The study also found that fuel density and vegetation type influenced the emissions. Overstocked forest canopy emitting more CO2 than grassy foothill areas. The report says high severity wildfires are not only relevant to greenhouse accounting, but also to the management of forest thinning and prescribed fires, which can minimize long-term carbon output. A couple of weeks ago, they held the holiday gift fair at Foothills Middle School and right across the street at the Wenatchee Valley Senior Activity, but the spirit of Christmas remains at the thrift shop. It's the Christmas Cottage. It's up and running, and it will be running right through the holidays. You can find deals for the season Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 o'clock, Saturdays from 10 to 3. I had a chance to speak with Lisa Blair, the Executive Director of the Wenatchee Valley Senior Activity Center, about the holiday shopping experience.
The Christmas Cottage, when you turn this whole thing into a Christmas-themed extravaganza, yes. And in fact, you're prepping right now as we speak, and that'll open all the way through the Christmas to come in and do that. And of course, the big thing here is you've got a lot of stuff.
We do.
A lot of stuff.
We have a semi-trailer sized storage container out back that is full with Christmas things. We take one of our suites and we empty that suite out from all of the stuff we use all year long, take as much as we can out of the container, bring it into that room. That's kind of like our staging room, and then this happens. And it continually recycles until just before Christmas when we do a half-off sale. But there's new stuff coming in every day.
Yeah, that's the key. Kind of like the holiday gift fair. in that you can't, if you want to come in and do the Christmas cottage, if you just come once and never come back again, you're missing out, because you guys are constantly, because you got so much stuff, you're constantly restocking the shelves with different things.
Yes.
Must be a logistical nightmare. How many volunteers, how many people figure out these are the Santas and these are the Nutcrackers and these are the Santa outfits and these are the Christmas cookie plates, and how did you wrap your head around that?
I'm glad I don't have to do it. The thrift store manager, Shannon, is the one that takes care of all of that, and you can see behind us there are already people working, and it goes on all day long. We have one night, sometimes it runs into 2 nights, where after the place shuts down, there's a team that comes in, and it's pretty much volunteers. There are a small handful of employees, but most of it's volunteers, and they come in and they price things, they set things up, they open boxes, they sort. They get pizza because of their hard work, but it's a big event. It happens one night and often goes into 2. So, and then continually, you can see with the people we have here now, they're in here all day long.
If it wasn't for volunteers, really, this place wouldn't exist. You have a staff. It's a very small staff, and you're not paying them a whole bunch of money. I think most of them would come in just because they like it so much. But no volunteers, this whole organization doesn't exist, much less these 2 events we talked about.
Absolutely correct. We would not be here without our volunteers, and we appreciate them so much. I can never say that enough, and every time I get a chance to talk about our volunteers, I want people to know how much we appreciate them and how valuable they are. So yes, they keep us going, they keep our doors open.
And that is what's making news on this Thursday. We'll be putting together another newscast so you can know what the heck's going on around here. The original title, What the Heck is Going On Around Here? Then we changed our mind and just called it the NCW Life Evening News. At 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock tonight on television, the traditional on-air times, 5, 6, and 10. But we know you're busy and you need to watch the news when you're ready to watch the news. So we have it up and running on our YouTube page right around 5 o'clock. It'll be in our homepage right around 5 o'clock. We'll put a link on our Facebook page. I don't even know what that means. We're on Roku, we're on Apple, we're on Apple Fire, we have an app, we have X, we have Instagram. We no longer have a commissary though, which sucks because I'm hungry. And if you have a news tip, send us an email, news@ncwlife.com. Whatever sports I was able to scrape together, I'll send your way next. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Craving fresh Asian comfort food? Steam Panda is Wenatchee's popular, family-friendly Asian restaurant. They focus on providing guests with delicious, healthy, fresh, and natural dishes for an affordable price. Warm up with one of their many popular house-made soup dumplings, ramen noodles, or pho dishes. And make sure to ask about their lunch and chef specials on sushi rolls. Steam Panda's Hawaiian poke bowl and salads are excellent with your favorite boba tea. Stop by or order online at Steam Panda today.
Caught in a conflict? Family, workplace, neighbor, business, housing disputes? Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center provides mediation services, a cost-effective and efficient way to provide a written resolution to disputes and issues. Plus, we offer mediation training and community education on conflict resolution and communication skills. Contact us to learn more.
When flooding hit Serve Wenatchee, their office in Fresh Hope Market were devastated. But their mission to help prevent homelessness in this valley hasn't stopped, and neither will we. I'm Todd McLaughlin, General Manager at Apple Valley Honda. Now through the end of the year, we're donating $25 to Serve Wenatchee every time someone takes a test drive. And if you happen to buy a vehicle, we'll give an additional $100 in your name. Because when our neighbors are in need, this community steps up, and we're proud to be part of that.
Is your yard outdated, overgrown, or just not working for your lifestyle? At Bailey's Pro Landscaping, they specialize in transforming ordinary outdoor spaces into beautiful, low-maintenance landscapes built for Central Washington living. From custom designs to full installation, they bring expertise, creativity, and craftsmanship to every job. Your yard has potential. Start your project with Bailey's Pro Landscaping.
Sports at 20 minutes after the hour. The Seattle Kraken on a 4-game road trip. Tonight is game number 2. They're in the Windy City, Chicago. They'll take on the Blackhawks tonight at 5 o'clock. Chicago is 5-2-2 at home. They're 10-5-4 overall, and they are 7th in NHL play. They've scored 64 goals. Seattle is 3-4-2 in road games. They're 9-5-5 overall. They've allowed 52 goals. They've scored 51. That's not very good. Thursday's game is the second time these teams match up this season. The Kraken won, by the way, 3-1 in the previous meeting, which is earlier this month in Seattle. The puck will drop at 5 o'clock tonight on Kong TV. They had a doubleheader in Pullman, the ladies and then the men. Well, for the men, pretty good. Nde Okafor scored 27 points. He grabbed 8 rebounds. Emili Yalaho added 14 points and 11 rebounds. The Cougars beat Southern Utah 98-74 at Beasley Court last night. Ace Glass, I love that name, Ace Glass, added 20 points. Jerome Morton had 10 for the Cougars. They shot 57% from the field. As far as the women are concerned, well, the Huskies, no real problems. Number 25, Washington, outscored Fresno State 61-43 last night in Seattle. Huskies scored 25 points in the second quarter alone. They shot 63%. They led 37-20 at halftime, so it really wasn't much of a game. Washington forced 28 turnovers, scoring 20 points off those turnovers, and they held Fresno State to just 35% from the field. But for the Cougars, Oregon Ducks had no problems against the Cougars. This was the earlier game. Again, they had a doubleheader in Pullman. The women played first, and Oregon pulled out pretty easily. In fact, they led 35-22 at the half. The Ducks did. The final was 86-59. So the Cougar women are now 0-5, and that's their worst start in 15 years. They haven't won a game yet. Just one game on the slate today. Gonzaga is at South Dakota State at 5 o'clock. I couldn't find any television broadcast on that, by the way. And those are just some of the games that people are playing. Told you I didn't have much for sports. What do? Well, you celebrate National Absurdity Day today because who's kidding who? Life is absurd. Thanks to the Danish philosopher Kierkegaard. He's the one who coined the phrase absurd. It's kind of an umbrella phrase for everything that is just plain bizarre. Because if you're into absurd things, that's about the best I could come up with. By the way, you can forget social customs, just do crazy stuff. It's National Absurdity Day today. Celebrate it any way you want to. Life is absurd, and then you die. It's 23 minutes after the hour. Today in history, check out the marriage certificate here. The woman who would eventually become queen, Princess Elizabeth, on this date, married Lieutenant Philip Mountbatten. Look at the that's the actual marriage certificate that they fill out. He's a 26-year-old bachelor. She's a 24-year-old spinster. Yeah, they got married November 20th, 1947. She, of course, would eventually become queen within about a year. Here's a little newsreel footage that I'm going to tell you about the cake.
Riding in the Irish state coach, His Majesty the King and Her Royal Highness the Bride, for the Sovereign's escort of household cavalry, magnificent in full dress. A pageant of solemn majesty, yet full of the warmth of feeling which illuminated this great day. Side by side they appear, heading the procession down the nave, the bride and bridegroom.
Couple of questions. What do you get them? They got 2,500 wedding presents. Can you imagine? You get married, you go on your honeymoon, you come back, and you go through all the wedding presents, and you write your thank you notes. 2,500 wedding presents. Oh, look, honey, it's a crock pot. Oh, look, honey, it's a toaster. The wedding cake was 9 feet high. It was a fruit cake, by the way, so it probably still exists. It was 9 feet high. The wedding cake weighed 1/4 of a ton. It was made out of 80 oranges, 660 eggs, and 3 gallons of rum. The queen married the king. He never, of course, he can't be king because you get the job by birth. That happened on this date 78 years ago today. On this date, 1969, the Lakota tribe decided, well, we have the treaty. Let's go ahead and take over Alcatraz Island, just outside of San Francisco. They took it over November 20th, 1969. It was the Treaty of Fort Laramie between the United States and the Lakota, and the treaty said all retired, abandoned, or out-of-use federal lands was supposed to be returned to the Native Americans who once occupied it. And since they closed Alcatraz in 1963, they said, well, then it's ours again, right? So they moved in, and they stayed for 19 months. For a while there, the U.S. government just let them stay there. I mean, they can't do any harm. Who would voluntarily want to live in Alcatraz is beyond me. But eventually they got tired of it, and they figured that the only way to get rid of them was to simply cut off access so they couldn't get food and clothing and things like that. But for 19 months, beginning on this date in 1969, a bunch of Native Americans seized and lived on Alcatraz. Don't ask me why. Keith Moon is the greatest drummer in the history of rock and roll, but he didn't have a very good day on this date in 1973 at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. There's Keith, my favorite drummer of all time. Before the concert, Keith Moon drank brandy and took a horse tranquilizer. That'll knock you out, and right in the middle of Magic Bus, Keith Moon passed out. Well, the roadies, they took Keith Moon off the drum kit. There's Keith, he's gone. A horse tranquilizer will do it. Took him into the shower, gave him a shower, gave him a cortisone shot. It revived him. The concert stopped for about 30 minutes. Then they brought Keith Moon back out on stage, and he passed out again. So the Who played 3 songs without any drummer, and then Pete Townsend says, is there anybody out there that can play the drums? And you got to be good. Well, in the front row, there was a 19-year-old Who fan by the name of Scott Halpin, and he said, I can play drums. And Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey and John Entwistle said, come on up. And so there's Scott. Scott gets behind the drum kit. How you doing, Pete? What songs we going to play? I don't know. Just we'll count you in, and you can just go with it. And a 19-year-old fan by the name of Scott Halpin played the last 3 songs of the encore with the Who. What did he get for compensation? They gave him a tour jacket. And then during the backstage party after the concert, somebody stole the jacket. That was on this date in 1973. And we all know about these publicly financed big stadiums for professional sports teams. You think they last longer than 25 years, but on this date in 2017, they blew up the Georgia Dome. They tore it down to build the Mercedes-Benz Stadium right next door, and it had only been in use for 25 years. After 25 years, they said that's it, but they tore it down. The Georgia Dome on this date in 2017. The Georgia Dome, a unique claim to fame. It is the only stadium that hosted an Olympics, a Super Bowl, and an NCAA Final Four, and they blew it up after just 25 years. Birthdays, born 100 years ago today. Robert Francis Kennedy, younger brother of JFK, the enforcer, if you will, in the Kennedy family. Of course, he was the Attorney General into the Kennedy administration, left the Johnson administration, ran for the Senate, won, was running for the presidency in 1968 when he was shot to death. His wife, Ethel, was pregnant with their 11th children. He left behind 11 children when he died, but he was born on this date 100 years ago today. His name was Oliver Sipple. He was a decorated U.S. Marine, a Vietnam War veteran. He was left disabled by the war. After Vietnam, he moved to San Francisco. In September of 1975, he saved the life of Gerald Ford when he knocked the gun out of the hand of Sarah Jane Moore, and he became a celebrity. Oliver Sipple did. Unfortunately, the media in San Francisco discovered that Oliver Sipple was in fact a homosexual, a fact that he kept secret from his family and his parents. He was outed by the national media. His parents disavowed him. Oliver Sipple would die broke and alone in an apartment in San Francisco at the age of 47, born in the state in 1941. The Good Doctor, Dr. John, also born in the state in 1941. Mac Reminack, great songwriter, great piano player. If you don't have the album Gris Gris, buy a copy, buy 2. You might wear one out. We love Dr. John. We lost him a number of years ago. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on merit. Dr. John, born in the state in 1941. Joe Biden is 83 years old today, the 46th president of the United States. He's going to be making a rare public appearance today. He'll be going to the funeral services for Vice President Dick Cheney. Joe Biden, 46th President of the United States, is 83 years old today. Born in state 1946, one of the greatest guitarists of all time, Duane Allman. He was incredibly prolific, considering he only lived to the age of 24. And he wasn't just with the Allman Brothers. He played for Aretha Franklin and all kinds of great stuff. He did things with the guitar even I can't figure out. And speaking of guitarists, life has been good for Joe Walsh. Joe Walsh is 78 years old today. Somebody should probably tell him. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. They are our platinum sponsors, and we'd love to have them on board. They are the best. And by the way, if you need a brand new HVAC system, they got all kinds of rebates. They'll work with you. They want you to be as comfortable as possible during the heat of the summer and the cold of the winter. Mike Benatti's got an opinion coming up, and then part 2 of my conversation with the chief of the Wenatchee Police Department, Chief Edgar Reinfeld. Today's topic, not surprisingly, law enforcement. We'll have that when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
NCW Life channel is your local TV station. We believe in being the spotlight and mirror to the communities we serve in North Central Washington. Programming on NCW Life would not be possible without our sponsors. Special thanks to our platinum sponsor, Alpine Air. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air.
Central Washington Water understands the power of healing waters. If part of your wellness routine includes hot heat from a sauna, Central Washington Water now carries indoor and outdoor infrared and hot rock saunas by Tilo. Research shows there are many health benefits to a cold plunge after a good workout or relaxing time in your sauna. Harness the power of water in a hot spring spa, plug-and-play spas, a Tilo sauna, or a cold plunge tub. Stop by Central Washington Water, your wellness experts.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCW Life, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNally, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I post on Facebook. I post a lot. Most of it is challenging and what I might be considered controversial. Now, some time ago, I was posting about the legitimate concerns within the Christian church. Now, these posts elicited a strong negative reaction from a pastor friend of mine who insisted that the problems were not as bad as I was making them out to be, and that I should not be painting the whole church with the same brush. I disagreed, and I asked if I was pressing on a nerve. He denied this, as I expected. But there's some truth in this. If pointing out an issue to you results in a defensive reaction, sometimes, most times actually, we should stop and ask, what am I getting defensive about? Is there some truth in what I'm hearing? This is Mike Mad Dog McNally, and that's my opinion.
We've all dreamt of moving somewhere new. But what are home prices like? How are the schools? What are the state income taxes? And how's the weather? For all your questions, the Coldwell Banker Move Meter has answers. It's the only tool that lets you compare cities by cost and quality of living, so you can get a better idea of what your dream looks like and start making it come true. The Move Meter, only from Coldwell Banker. Live well with Coldwell.
You trust the same doctor for your health and the same dentist for your smile. Trust Global Car Care to keep your vehicle running strong. We track your car's history so it gets the right care at the right time. With our 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on parts and labor, you'll drive away with confidence. Global Car Care, your automotive experts. We service all makes and models, but specialize in Sprinter vans, Mercedes, Audi, Volkswagen, and BMW. Call or visit us today.
Highlander Golf Course and Grill, your place for fun, food, and friends. Happy hour every day, 2 to 7. Try their brand new menu and famous prime rib every Saturday night. Planning a celebration? Book your holiday party, wedding, or private event, even in their exclusive simulator rooms. Highlander Golf Course and Grill, where every day is a celebration. Visit today.
Mow, dig, haul, trench. The reliable Kubota BX Series subcompact tractor is highly capable. A smooth hydrostatic transmission makes for easy operation and versatile attachments that help you handle the job. The Kubota BX Series is the #1 selling subcompact tractor in the U.S. Talk to your Kubota dealer to schedule a demo.
It helps that you do have some top flight talent in your police department, not only in the leadership department on both sides. It's administrative and
operations.
Operations is the people who are out there that you see day to day doing the patrol. They're good at what they do, but you always need help. You're still advertising for some new patrol officers. You always seem to be doing that.
We've gone through this crazy wave of attrition with retirements. We hit a cycle. It was funny. It's the same thing at the military job. Like 4 years ago, like, where's everybody going? Why is nobody staying? Why is everybody retiring? How are this many people ready to retire? September 11th, 2001, large surge in interest, large surge of people pouring into the system. And lo and behold, 2021 means 20 years, and you're eligible for military retirement. And away they go. And we're in a similar generation here where we've got a lot of folks who came in that 20 to 25 years ago range, and it's just time for them to attrit out naturally through retirement. And what that led to, we went from being authorized 45 to 48 positions, and then we dipped to 34 on staff because we had a huge surge in retirement. And we're building back up out of that. We're at 44 today. I have 6 in field training. Our normal capacity is 2. Our surge capacity is 3. We're doing 6. Full commitment by our field training crew, and we're getting it done to get us up to where we need to be. And in 2026, we expect to hire 6 more, just to keep us floating near that 47 to 48 level. We expect 3 more to attrit in 26 due to retirement. They're there. They've told us they plan on 26, and when we get firm commitments, then we'll prepare to work.
And you budgeted for that. You're in the budget cycle right now.
Absolutely, yeah.
As a matter of fact, and you know that this is about what we're going to need for the fiscal year beginning January 1st of 2026.
And conveniently, we tend to budget vacancies against a full rate officer. The nice thing is if we start them as entry levels, they start substantially below that. The first 6 months, they only make 77.5% of the base pay for a month for an officer at 30 months. And then they progress through 3 steps over 30 months to get to full rate. So the budget implication is cushioned by that. However, if we hire a lateral officer, they come on at full rate, and then we pick them up where they came across. So with that, we have budget authority for what we need to maintain our numbers in 2026, and we'll stay with that and try not to exceed through circumstance or through other changes.
And even with a lateral officer, those who are fully accredited with other law enforcement agencies, that can come straight across from wherever it is to the Wenatchee Police Department. You want somebody who's fully accredited, but only 4 or 5 years into the job, as opposed to somebody who's fully accredited and 17 years in the job, and you're going to have them for 3.
You know, the thing is, I'll take anybody if they have some time on their clock. If they bring let's put it this way: when we start looking at new folks, we bring them out here as they get to a point where we're going to do chief's interviews, or even if they're going to oral board for us, we try to get them a ride along in the car, and we do that partly on day shift, partly on night shift. So they come out and they ride with a day shift officer, and then they switch at shift change to a night shift officer. We try to have them out for 6 to 8 hours. We get feedback from the people working the field, first of all, about what do you think about fit? How does it look? We send them through oral panels. They have to pass that. They come to a chief's interview. They have to pass that. We do background. 5 years is a good run. It's a good investment and a good return on investment. I tell every officer we hire, the day it's not for you, come see me. And it's okay if we've put $1 million into getting you started and it's not for you, this career is not for you, it's okay. Because we can't have these people beholden to something that's killing them. And realistically, I'd gladly take deeply experienced officers. We've had great luck with getting really experienced laterals. Most tend to be in the 5 to 10 year range, because by the time you've been somewhere for 10 years, you tend to get a little, invested in there and built in, and you stay. But we'll take anybody as long as they've got some time on the clock. They've got commitment. They're willing to commit to our culture. They're a good fit with us. and they can clear all the things that are needed. If they're not the right fit for us, and if they're not the right sort of qualification, we don't want them here in our community being a Wenatchee police officer. But if they have all those things, even if their time isn't that long to go, it can still be worth the investment. Because the thing about a 17-year guy who maybe has 3 to 5 years who shows up, they bring a broad base of experience, potentially crazy experience sometime that we can really leverage. It's funny, we hire people from other agencies. Well, I was this kind of trainer at the other agency. Do you think I'll be able to keep doing that? Yes. The day you clear FTO, we can start having you work training depending on what it is that you train. And the day you clear probation, we can assign you as a permanent trainer, whether it's defensive tactics or firearms or emergency vehicle operations or anything. We have to leverage the experience no matter where it was obtained, so long as it fits with our needs.
Where are we just from an overall crime trend? We'll just talk about the city of Wenatchee. That's your Bouviac, that's your deal. About where it should be, or there's some troubling signs that,
Sure.
I mean, you have the spreadsheets, you know.
We'd of course always like it to be zero. We'd like it to be this perfectly idyllic environment that we go out and do magical things and no one ever suffers as a victim of crime. What I'll say is when we look at the statewide published statistics, everything is up just a little bit, like across the board. What we see anecdotally and through ours, because the statewide published statistics, that report that comes out, looks at the data differently than we do because it's tailored to a reporting system that looks at it that way. So those numbers against those numbers over time mean something. The way we look at things over time mean something. They mean basically the same things. It's still a very low crime rate here, and that's a great thing. Property crime has fluttered up a good bit at times, then it seems to flatten, and I would say in the last week, suddenly it's commercial burglary is just a thing, and it's infuriating. It's difficult because we don't do that for a very long time, and then suddenly that's the flavor of the month, and it's challenging. Property crime is probably our biggest concern, but I will say we've seen gang-related violent crime on the rise. And while we haven't seen that impact people who are not directly involved in the strife, we have seen an alarming number of juveniles with stolen firearms out threatening each other, occasionally shooting. East Wenatchee's had a terrible problem. It's been over and over in some places, but East Wenatchee is not some magical place. You have to cross a border and go through customs to get to Wenatchee. It extends right to here as well. So holistically in the valley, our crime rate is still very low. Property crime is up a little bit and has been. It may fall back down. It's not up 30%. It's fluttered up a little bit. And then the gang-related violent crime is looking very concerning. However, I think we're making positive steps that some of that is being mitigated. So,
Chief Johnson in East Wenatchee, Sheriff Morrison in Chelan County, Sheriff Morris in Douglas County, and the State Patrol. You guys get together, you have your little confabs.
Every month.
You compare notes, check on morale and how things are going. For Sheriff Morrison, it's been a tough year.
Yeah.
For Sheriff Morrison, it's been kind of a tough year for all of you guys in leadership position. But morale's okay. I mean, give me an overall sense as with the four of you guys getting together, and again the State Patrol chiming in as usual, the overall sense of how you guys feel as a law enforcement community for all of North Central Washington.
It's positive. Yeah. We have a positive outlook. Cases like Decker that started with us and then became the absolute tragedy that it is in Chelan County is a huge and potentially negative impact to agency health and agency morale and welfare and all these things for individuals and for whole organizations, for organizations as a whole. So trying to deal with that with a lot of peer support and critical incident debriefings and doing these things, bringing in outside help from far outside our region because there's not nearly enough here when almost everyone's involved. We've kind of worked through that and I think provide hope for individuals to kind of keep moving through and move on and normalize and get back to kind of their normal life after experiencing a thing like that. We just finished WASPIC in this past week is Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs Fall Conference. All four local agency heads were present. And, we all heard some of the same news, some good, some bad, some weird. It's always, you wait for the next legislative session and see what's going to change. And then we also talked about some things that we can lean on and maybe hopefully try to change to make some things a little bit easier for all of us in law enforcement in the state. But the tone's not overall negative. The tone is overall positive. within each agency has its own subculture. Ours, and I will only speak to ours, is very positive. Like I said before, we're tripling our normal capacity for doing field training. It's a 16-week program. Each trainee officer needs 4 training officers over the span of 16 weeks. It's a lot to do, but at the same time, everybody committed to it, saying, no, we know we have to hire this huge number of people and process them. I got appointed in July last year. We're authorized 48 commission personnel. We've hired 14. I have 2 more on commission on conditional offers. We intend to hire, those 2 are like 26 hires. One of them may start in 25, plus 4 more in 26. Realistically, it'll be 18 to 20 that I've hired in the first 2 years that I'm the chief of police. And the engagement, everybody biting off on it and really moving forward is great.
Last time you and I talked, specifically a couple of years ago, you mentioned maybe the biggest change that you've seen from going from patrol to leadership to now chief is that when they're on patrol, on their regular shift, it's more of responding from call to call to call more now than ever before, as opposed to just being on patrol. Right. Oh, that car has expired registration, or that looks like that somebody is crawling into a back door of somebody's house, and it's changed too much that a great deal of your officers on patrol every day are simply responding from one incident to another via Rivercom. They've been dispatched to this problem. Is that still pretty much the case?
It's still very prevalent, where discretionary time is limited because of so many in training. The positive thing is, in this January, February timeframe, all 6 who are in FTO right now, by that point, will be cleared. Patrol will be staffed at a more healthy level than it has been in 2.5 years. That gets us some of that discretionary time back. In the first quarter, we'll be standing the traffic unit back up, which is then suddenly 2.5 to 3 positions that are nothing but discretionary. They respond to collisions and take those reports, but realistically, if they are programming time to go do one traffic emphasis or another, that's their priority, and they can by all means take it. And when we get the complaints from citizens or concerns from city council, the mayor's office, anybody going, hey, this seems like a real traffic problem here, then we have the ability to assign them to that problem. There's been a lot of discussion at council meetings lately about Skyline and Red Apple Road and concerns about it. Right, I have a hard time having people free to go work there, but when we had the traffic unit in 2024, they worked there quite a bit. It was interesting. One of my traffic officers from that point is like, here's the 10 infractions I wrote for speed and related issues in that area in 2024. Like, great. Now, we haven't seen that in 25 nearly as much because we literally are spread a little bit thin, and our primary job is to respond to those calls for service. That's the first thing we have to do. As we have enough personnel and have enough personnel on the road, we will fill that discretionary time and go back to do what I loved so much when I was a new officer. I would spend maybe a third of my shift on an average shift, like some are just weird, but like a third of my shift directly responding to calls, a third of my shift, quarter to a third of my shift doing paperwork, and the rest of that was discretionary time. Going to lunch at the senior center just because I could, and talking to the old folks about not being victims of scams, or going and proactively talking with the loss prevention officers at the stores in the North End and go, what are your problems? How can we help work? Which just led to them calling me and going, hey, that guy's back. I talked to you about last week, and he's in the store right now. I think he's going to steal. Great. Then I'll come park outside and I'll wait, and you call me and tell me. And then but I had that discretionary time that wasn't going call to call. We're still very heavily in that mode. But again, every position we get filled back on patrol by a patrol officer relieves a tiny bit of pressure on that patrol system. And eventually we get back to things like our permanent day shift last year, and the one rotator that's on nights now but on days. They work the Locomotive Park area extensively. We have a TV with the cameras for Locomotive Park around the George Seller Bridge, especially before the DOT did that fenced-in project. We worried about fires under the bridge and stuff. You can't have fires under a bridge. That's really bad.
Can't really have fires anywhere.
No, you shouldn't have fires really anywhere, but in fireplaces, under highway bridges is really bad. But they would really proactively work and go, we took these reports of stolen bicycles. And they watch the camera and go, well, there it is. And then they'd drive down there, and then they'd spend 2-3 hours down there. Or they would just go down there and look around and go, that is a brand new bike you, particular individual, did not have yesterday. Where did that come from? Well, I don't know. And about the time we're talking to them, you get this theft report come in. And so things like that, those are proactive events, but you almost have to set aside the call response work for 2 or 3 people to go commit to an activity like that. And I would really hope that before I retire, we're back in a place where we could see 20 to 30% of a patrol officer's time being purely discretionary during their shift, because that's when they can really make a huge difference in things that, instead of managing response, we're actually trying to proactively stay in front of the things we would have to manage a response about later.
The city and the Chelan County Regional Justice Center, they're in a tug of war right now. It's in the courts. A Superior Court judge said you're going to work under the current contract, which I believe dates back to 2024, get this straightened out.
Right.
But the only thing that the two sides can agree on is the price is going to go up to house an inmate in the, I guess best way to put it, is the jail. Are you involved in that negotiation? Where are we with that? Is this going to finally find a solution
I'm
here?
directly involved. It's pending litigation, so I'm not going to say really anything about it. But you're exactly right. It comes down to how much does it cost to have the service we need to have to function as a law enforcement entity, and for our city to have the ability to take people who are committing criminal acts and causing problems and have a place to take them so that they can not only answer for that problem, but every minute they're there is a minute they're not causing that problem. And that's, it's frustrating, it's difficult, but it's still business. And it's the business of the county, it's the business of the city, it's the business of the sheriff's office, the police department. And it's a really tough area in the state. One of the things at Waspic, there's jails there and the jail heads. And the litigation stuff that goes on with jails is extremely difficult to deal with. It drives rates because insuring a jail is brutally expensive. Settlements are, high 7, low 8 figures for something bad happening in a jail. And bad things happen. People go in very sick sometimes, or very impacted by drug use sometimes, and then things don't go well. And it can even lead to deaths in the jail, in custody deaths, which are the worst case scenario. Nobody wants to have that happen. That's not the point of being in jail. The point in jail is being there for as long as the judge says you need to be, and then going back to society and trying again, not to go in and not come out. And so we recognize there's changes in expense. We just have to figure out the right place for everybody to make it sustainable.
You're a busy guy. Anything else while I have you here? Chief, I love calling you Chief. I bump into him all the time. How are you, Captain? Now it's Chief. I get to call you Chief. This is a rare treat. Anything else that's on your mind before I cut you loose on this day?
I don't think so right now. The biggest thing I want to just reiterate our continued ongoing appreciation of the community support for our department and for our personnel. And it was evidenced really well on Friday, November, what was it? It was Friday before Veterans Day here. I guess it was the 4th?
Yeah, that would be the 7th, I want to say. I know.
7th, yeah. The 7th was Monday, the 14th. Yeah, Friday before the 11th, regardless. We did our Stuff the Bus project at Walmart. We had, I would say, a 32-foot bus up there, so not a short bus, not the super big bus, but the full-size school bus up there. And in the course of 4 hours, standing at the door handing out flyers, and we did very minimal pre-advertising of the event. We filled the bus. So every seat on the bus had stuff stacked in it. The central aisle had stuff from about halfway back all the way to the tail. The tail area that's set up for wheelchairs, it's probably 7 or 8 feet long, and the full width of the bus was stacked at least 3 feet deep full of stuff, and almost $1,000 in cash donated simply by the goodwill of our community to help us with Operation Turkey Drop on Friday the 21st, where Walmart's provided us a grant. We'll take that cash, we'll buy turkeys, we'll buy pans, and then we'll take what is probably 2,500 pounds of groceries and build boxes for between 85 and 100 Wenatchee School District families and get them turned over to the school representatives that day. That project and the fact that one officer, I guess more so 2 officers this year, between Officers Fuller and Burrow, Officer School Resource Officers, going, this is important, we want to do this. One store in Walmart going, we really wanted we want a community project real bad, because they won't shop with cops, but Hooked on Toys is committed to that, so they get that one. But they would love to take it, but they're not going to get it, because Hooked on Toys is a great partner as well. But one store, a couple of officers taking a few hours and setting up a project, and then having a community come through, not just with here's 1 box or 2 cans, but probably fully a third of the donations over that 4 hours. Here's an entire cart full of groceries, some of them with receipts attached for anywhere from $95 to $200. Here's an entire cart full of groceries. Do good. And that's amazing. I cannot thank our community enough. Our officers can't thank our community enough. I thank all of you for being supportive, not only of police operations, but just taking care of the community and helping us do so.
It's funny you say that because I ran into at the Plaza. I told Plaza I wasn't going to mention their name.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to mention that I ran into one of the patrol officers at the Plaza Superjet, patrol officers, and I mentioned that because I saw the social media on the Stuff a Bus thing, and I said, "You guys really don't have to do that." And he looked at me and goes, "You know, Dan, we kind of have to." And I thought, that's great. He goes, I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "We're not the bad guys. We're not the bad guys," and people need to understand because most people, when they interact with law enforcement, be it Wenatchee Police or anybody, it's because something's wrong.
Right.
And it's a negative thing because something negative happened to them and it requires law enforcement presence. Really not the case, is it?
No, we're members of the community just like everybody else. And we have to be in this together. We don't always have to agree. We don't always have to like each other. But we do need to recognize, respect each other, and do the things that are needed for the greater good of the community. And this is an easy one. Shop with Cops is an easy one. Trick or Treat on the Ave's an easy one. It's a good time, which I had to miss. It was military day. I had to be somewhere else, which bothers me because I love Trick or Treat on the Ave. And then to hear it was the largest one ever so far is great because we just want to keep growing it. The mayor asked me, "Do we need to close another block?" I'm like, "I don't know. Maybe. I guess we'll figure that out next year." So,
Chief Edgar Reinfeld for the Wenatchee Police Department, interim city administrator. That second tag hopefully will be taken off his desk and he can go back to his full-time job. Thanks for coming, and as usual, whenever you visit the show, can you run these license plate numbers for me?
Absolutely not.
The guy's honest. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be back.
Birthdays, office gatherings, and team parties taste better at Abby's. From our legendary lunch and Thirsty Thursday to our monthly giant special, there's always a reason to gather. Family-owned Abby's, your legendary pizza tradition. You asked, and it's back at Abby's. 2 legends, 1 pizza. Half pepperoni, half big Hawaiian. All delicious. It's mouthwatering, loaded with toppings, and happily feeds a family. Order at abbys.com before this legend disappears.
News, weather, and sports. It's all here weekdays at 5, 6, and 10 on your local news source, the NCW Life Channel.
Welcome to Bliss. Population U. This is the you that appreciates the warmth of a good coat and the fit of a purposeful boot. At Coastal, we want to be your partner in finding your bliss. We are hopeful and helpful because we're about this community. So when you're looking for a place called Bliss, trust Coastal, your country lifestyle superstore. Coastal, we're just what the country needs.
Hey, hon, would you run this around to the wash rack?
Oh, okay.
Hey, hon, what happened?
They shrunk the truck.
The all-new mid-size Canyon is now available at Sangster Motors.
Some spittles of rain, not too bad anyway. 39 degrees here in the big city. Once again, we're going to be above normal for our afternoon high. Our normal high this time of the year is 42. We barely got above that. We only got to 44 on Wednesday, but it's been an unseasonably warm November with our afternoon highs almost every day exceeding normal, and our overnight lows for almost every day has been above normal. And guess what? It's going to continue to happen that way from the National Weather Service. That way, if you don't like the weather, you can blame the government. We're supposed to see some sun breaks a little bit later on today with the top off at about 48 or so. Clear skies tonight means we're going to get down there a little bit, 32 for the overnight low. Friday, sunshine, they tell us, most of the day anyway, with a high of 45, 35 for the overnight low on Friday night. Saturday, cloudy but dry. They were originally predicting a couple of days ago maybe about a 50% chance of rain during the day on Saturday. Now that rain isn't really going to come until Sunday. Our best chance of measurable rain, by the way, is on Sunday night. We got a 50% chance of rain. And just a heads up, Monday morning, the snow level is going to be at about 2,700 feet. We should be fine, but the passes could get a little snow Sunday night into Monday. That's it for us. Start your weekend with us tomorrow. Till then, bye-bye.